Wrexham gets the win on Saturday, 2-0. They were at Exeter. Your goals are in the 23rd minute by Rathbone, and then a penalty goal by Rodriguez in the 60th minute. Uh, Exeter had basically no chance. Like it was, your expected goals were 1.61 to 0.24. So like they barely had it together. Just looking at the stats alone, it's very one-sided game for Wrexham. We like that for them. We want obviously them to advance. Right now they're sitting in the number 2 spot, right? So I'm gonna pull up the standings as I talk, and they're in second right now. I believe Wycombe is right on their ass. If the standings would open, come on, stupid damn thing. But yeah, they're yeah, standings. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, so Birmingham obviously is far and away they're crushing it. So Wrexham has that game in hand still, and they are only 3 points back. And Wycombe does have that tiebreaker, if I remember correctly. Your goal differential, yeah. So Wycombe does have 5 goals better on the goal differential. So if Wycombe does end up tying Wrexham, they'll go ahead. So you got to just kind of keep distance, stay in front of Wycombe the whole way, and they have one game to make up. So um, yeah, Tyler in the chat, y'all are zooming. Wrexham. Yep, that's right. We are cooking with gas today.
Hey,
Ready to
remember that?
roll.
This is for Tyler. Remember that old school Mazda Zoom Zoom commercial?
Yeah. Zoom zoom.
That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, that's right. Zoom zoom. Yeah. So like we said, and then just in looking at the last the last 5 games in form, Wrexham are 4-1. Wycombe is 3-1-1. So basically that draw instead of a win is your difference for Wycombe right now. Otherwise, they're right there, right on your ass again. So keep winning games. Only about 7 games left. You got 2 games this week upcoming. You're at Cambridge United on Tuesday, and then versus Burton Albion at home on Saturday. So big opportunity to pick up 6 more points and put a little bit of distance between yourself and Wycombe, because they got that game in hand scares the crap out of me, you know, especially in soccer, in football. Like it's right there, like that extra game in hand like seems to make so much more of a difference in this sport than any other sport, in my opinion. Like it's just
For
for
sure.
whatever reason, like especially for a good team, you basically almost automatically chalk that up as a win. So you have to play as if you're already sitting in third, even though you're in second.
Right.
um Okay, so let's bring it back home. We're going to talk Bay FC. They ended up going to Washington Spirit and losing 2-0. And both of those goals came in the 24th and the 27th minute by Ashley Hatch, who is called up to the U.S. Women's National Team. We'll get to that in a second. Um, that's her 55th and 56th career goal in the NWSL, and that puts her in the top 5 of all-time scoring. That second goal was just a defensive breakdown, and neither of the goals really, Silkowitz, the Bay FC goaltender, really had a shot at stopping. Like it was just excellent shots. Uh, the first one, she's basically skimmed a pass off her head. It just kind of skipped right across it, and it just kind of deflected far side past the goalkeeper. And then and then 3 minutes later, this one was another header. This one was off of a goal kick, off of a corner kick, excuse me, instead of a free kick. And this one was a more direct header, um uh deliberately put near the on the near side off of a set piece. And unfortunately, Bay FC had 2 different goals disallowed. In the 60th minute, Taylor Huff, she had a left-footed strike from about 20 yards out, and it goes low and away on the right side and in. But they went to review it, and they determined that Rachel Kundananji had fouled the defender Carl, and then the goal was taken off the board. Even though what had happened was Rachel Kundananji it was basically an attack. Like Huff was going. She was on her horse. Rachel Kundananji was also on her horse, and she kind of turned to look back. And when she turned to look back, She kind of just ran into the defender, and she's also trying to widen out her path as well, to try to open up and give either a pass or a shot, try to create some offense. And when she wasn't looking, because Rachel Kunananji is so strong, she just kind of ran over Carl, the defender, and so that goal was taken away, taken off the board wrongly, in my opinion. Uh, then in the 87th minute, Bay FC had a disallowed goal. Oshuala scored, but was called offside. It was super close, and we're talking the length of the finger, like half a hand offside, if that. And there wasn't a good enough angle. The camera angle was just a little bit angled. It wasn't perfectly down the line where the alleged offside happened. Not enough to overturn it. I'm not as upset about that one, but honestly, this game should have been a at worst 2-1 loss
Yeah.
for BFC. It could have been a 2-2 draw. And if it's a 2-2 draw, who knows what happens? There was 11 minutes of stoppage time in the second half too. So like um all sorts of chaos could happen. They call it Chaos League. They call it NWSL After Dark because crazy things happen at the end of games in this league, especially. So as it stands right now, they're 1-1-1. I didn't update this. They're actually eighth in the league as it stands. It's way too early to talk playoffs, but their next match is against the Chicago Stars. They changed their name from the Red Stars to the Stars for stupid reasons. Because communism, even though the Red Stars, the goddamn flag of Chicago has 4 red stars on it. That's what the red stars are about. It's about Chicago. But the owner, I don't know, he's trying to appeal to Trump or something. I don't know. He also owns the Cubs, so whatever. Fuck him. Oops, I mean, forget him. Bad words, Vin. We're trying to not say as many bad words. Anyway. Um, Taylor Huff, speaking of, she was called up to the under 23 US women's national team. So, and basically, when you're called up to the under 23s, that's basically seen as, if we're going to put it in baseball terms, this is your AAA of the it's basically the exact same program that they're running. They're just like running it for a little bit younger players. So Taylor Huff is getting a lot of looks for the national team, and getting them at the under 23 squad means she gets to play a lot too
Yeah.
for this opening window. Speaking of the U.S. women's national team, the April roster the roster for the April games has dropped. Get your words in the correct order, Vin. Okay, so looking at the April camp roster, I think the goaltender Fallon Tullis Joyce, she hasn't gotten a cap yet with the national team. She's gonna, I'm almost certain she's going to play in one of these 2 games. Jane Campbell and Manny McGlynn are, they did get to play in the last window back in February, I believe. So we're gonna see Fallon get her first start as well. She plays in England for Manchester United, and she's basically the supposed to be the next big thing at goalie for the U.S. women's national team. So here's hoping we have the next Brianna Scurry or Hope Solo, as long as not getting in trouble like Hope Solo does. Defenders Tierna Davidson actually got injured in her game uh, for Gotham FC. So Giselle Thompson is going to end up replacing her on the roster. So if you're looking at the image on the YouTube video, that part's not updated as of right now. That's unfortunate for Tierna. It was a non-contact injury to her left leg. Um, so she's probably going to be done for quite a while, which is unfortunate. She was one of the few people that had a almost lockdown position as a starter. So it does open up a lot of opportunity for a lot of other players though going forward. Um, let's see what else. The match is coming up in this window on April 5th on Saturday. They're down in LA. And then April 8th, they're at PayPal Park, and I'm going to be at that game on location. I will have a report for you in a couple of weeks because that's a Tuesday game, and obviously we record on Mondays. So I'm going to get to go to that game and then have to wait a whole ass week before telling you about it. I'm really excited for that. They're going to be playing Brazil, so that's a rematch of your gold medal game in the Olympics. For both games are going to be against Brazil down in LA and then up here in San Jose.
Right.
Um, let's see, what other notes do we have? Oh, I just wanted to bring up. I forgot to include this in the thing. This is just general soccer news. Um, but for the Oakland Roots that opening game that happened while I was in Disneyland on the 21st.
Yeah,
Um, that is a club attendance record of 26,575. That's basically a sellout for what the Roots are basically making available to be sold at the Coliseum. So that's a crazy good crowd. They ended up losing the game. That's unfortunate, but we're gonna keep an eye on the Oakland Roots, especially, because a certain jackass owns the San Jose team, and so that kind of makes it not fun for us to talk about them.
for sure.
So as far as attendance records by club in the USL, which is the league that the Oakland Roots are playing in, it's a tier 2 league. Cincinnati had 31,000 at a game in 2018. 26,000 plus at Oakland is the second most attended game ever in the USL in their history. The third highest game for a record is Sacramento Republic game. Actually, it had 20K at one of their games back in 2023. So we got a nice little rivalry that we could build up with Sacramento at the USL level, and also the USL is going to be voting on whether to instigate promotion and relegation. So that's going to be really exciting. It'll be the first time a league in America has pro rel. So that's going to be if they do end up bringing that on, that's going to be
So
really
how would that work, Vince?
so basically how that would work is they're going to establish they have a league below the USL right now. USL is considered a tier 2 the U.S. football pyramid. So they're working on building a tier 1 league to compete
I
against
see.
MLS. Okay, so then you'll have it'll be a competing league. It won't be partnered with MLS at all. In fact, I think MLS might be in trouble if this actually goes through.
I always felt like, even the minor leagues, minor league baseball should have done this. Is that you have all these teams in smaller communities, and maybe they're not major league baseball teams, but regulation of, you're a triple A team, you're not very good, you get regulated all the way down to single A or whatever it
Yeah.
may be. Um, to me, that like having the opportunity of like a league, your team can move up or down, like
Mhm.
European soccer, how we're watching Wrexham.
Yeah.
You know, that to me is interesting. That to me is fun as a fan. It's really interesting to watch.
Mhm.
And yeah, your team could fall down in the rankings and the standings and get regulated to
Yeah.
a lower tier,
Mhm.
but I still find that entertaining. And then you're gonna have, yeah, you have more teams in different tiers, but I think you start to naturally and organically get like rivalries and rival cities
Mhm.
where you're a new team, you're a new franchise, and you start in a single A or a
Mhm.
lower tier, and you
Yeah.
knock off some of your peers to get into that second league and keep moving up into that tier 1, that top tier, but then you can fall back down and maybe you get knocked down by a team that
Mhm.
also, got built up,
Yeah. Yeah. I
as
mean,
well. So
it,
it's fun.
yeah, to apply it to minor league baseball, for example, it would be super interesting to have Stockton Ports and the Sacramento River Cats and hell the San Jose Giants and the Fresno Grizzlies
Right,
like if all of a sudden all four of those teams ended up at the triple A level, that would make
right,
things really exciting, right? And Banner Island Ballpark in Stockton's that's a fairly new ballpark. It's
right.
you know they take pretty good care of that, and it would be really kind of cool to see how that would work,
I think
but
that would be really fun. I'm really excited what the what this comes of it,
yeah.
with
Yeah,
this,
hopefully they
tier.
do, and hopefully they do end up approving it, because that would be really exciting, and like you'll run into a team that like gets a miracle, goes on a miracle run and gets promoted when they honestly probably should have no business being promoted. But that's still fun anyway, because that team then gets a boost of money for the following year while they're just up at the biggest level, just taking L after L. They come back down, they've saved all that money hopefully, and then they can just kind of, dominate a little bit more, and then like build to maybe make a permanent stay up at the, or a
That'll
long-term
work
stay.
if you have, because each of these teams is gonna have an owner, and the
Exactly.
owner has to be committed to winning. You can't just be a bottom feeding team, and that to me should be built into the bylaws of ownership, is that if you're like, a team that, gets regulated all the way down to the lowest tier,
Hmm.
and if you can't get out within 5 seasons, you're not able to get out of that within 5 seasons, then,
It's
own
time to
you need to
sell.
sell the
Yeah.
team. You
Yeah.
need to sell the team because clearly you're not trying. Clearly you're not spending the money.
Right.
You're not putting the best product. It has to be
Yeah.
about at all times putting the best product on the field all the time. And I
And
know it's
yeah.
hard to always be your best, but especially with, the teams like the Sharks,
Mhm.
they're tearing it down right now, and that's why I said earlier that you gotta start putting some wins. You gotta go after a couple of free agents and get some
Yeah.
defensemen to start winning. I want the same thing here. Like, you got Celebrini, you got Will Smith, you're gonna have a top pick next year. You gotta start winning at some point. You gotta put some money back into the team. And these leagues, these lower league tiered, soccer clubs, you would need ownership that would invest
Right.
and be competitive.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's actually a couple of good questions from Papa G in the chat. What would you do about players under contract with a big league team? And I think that's where you would say, if they did it in baseball, for example, you would only do it at the minor league level. You wouldn't do it at the major league level. Um, and then as far as making the Giants and River Cats being part of the same organization, like they're part of the Giants, like same tier organization. I think that the way you would make that work is everybody is up for grabs basically. And I would start at your AAA. I'm just kind of gaming this out right now in my head. So 30 teams at the AAA level. Let's say the bottom four get relegated. And then the top four get relegated. Get promoted right from AA to AAA. And I think that the way you would make that work is the teams that had their AAA team go down, they would obviously take on that new team, right? And they would put those players there. Um, and so then obviously that might run into a little bit of an issue then with like just your travel or anything like that. And those like a lot of those guys that just lost and got sent the name River Cats, for example, sent down to AA. Those would be the same guys now playing for the Fresno Grizzlies or whatever.
Right.
So there would be like bugs to work out in that system, and obviously that's not anything that's ever going to actually happen. But I'm just gaming it out in my head. There would be advantages and disadvantages there.
There's
But
definitely
yeah,
some
yeah,
challenges.
there would be a lot of
There's
problems to kind of
challenges.
work out. But
Yeah, there's definitely
yeah,
challenges, but I
but
think it could
I
be
think
ironed out.
soccer would be a lot easier to establish this system, and USL is trying for it, and I really hope that they do end up doing it and they go through with it. It would be really cool, like all these people that the Oakland Roots put out like fan ownership drives, right? And so people have like bought stock in the Oakland Roots, so they're like like people have like a stock in the Roots or whatever. So might be kind of cool if they end up like putting this system in place, and then in 3 or 4 years or however long it takes, if suddenly the Oakland Roots are able to get promoted up to a higher level and they can get more money, then all of a sudden your fans are getting a little bit more out of it too, you know? So that's kind of cool. That would be kind of cool to think about. So kind of exciting. Kind of
No,
exciting.
I'm
Hope it
I'm juiced for it.
yeah,
I definitely, this is something I wanna keep an eye on
right.
as it
Absolutely.
develops.
Yeah. Let's see. One more note about U.S. Women's National Team. They did announce today that they're going to play Canada on July 2nd. in Washington D.C. at Audi Field, where Bay FC just took their first loss of the season. Um, so that game coming is going to be coming in July during the future window.